Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. So those that have watched this for quite some time will know that we have done a Master Ana guide in the past. We did this around December last year, and since then both Ana has seen a lot of changes come to her. She's been nerfed a lot, but also she has become one of the most popular mains in the high tier of Overwatch. Now we didn't necessarily want to do another Master guide on her, but I thought I'd chat to pro player Dummy, who is a pro Ana player for NRG, same team that Numlocked is on, but also the likes of Hard Blue, IDDQD, and of course Seagull. So in this video we want to cover some more intermediate tips as a follow-up from the Master Ana video we did way back when. We'll talk about her viability a little bit now as well with some of the recent changes, but mostly it's about focusing on becoming a much stronger Ana. But enjoy the video, do let us know what you think, like it of course as well, and you can find all of Dummy's information in the description below. Right, so when we do like the Master videos, which are like the specific guides on heroes, I usually ask them at the start why they should play that certain hero. Ana's probably the biggest must pick at the moment, or at least she has been in the past. First of all, with the sort of nerfs that she's had, is she still a must pick now? And why should you still play Ana over Zen or something like that?
I would say it's not as much of a must pick, but it's still pretty the more dominant of the three other options, which would be Zen or Mercy. As for why would you pick it, the main reason would be just the survivability and utility that you have against a lot of dive comps, dive heroes like Tracer, Winston, Genji, or the combination of all three diving you. You know, as a Zen, you're pretty defenseless. You do have teammates to peel for you, maybe a Zarya shield or a Winston or a Lucio speed boosting you to disengage, but Ana has a lot of ways to survive on her own. You know, the main thing is your biotic grenade does multiple things. So when you get dove by multiple enemies and you're on top of your tanks, you can just look down at the ground when you get dove, nade yourself, and now you just healed yourself and your tanks. You also buffed the healing on you and your tanks, and you also debuffed the people that dove you. All with one cooldown. You just did 3 or 4 different things that really heavily impact the team fight as it unfolds. In a way, it's just I mean, and that's just the nade. Obviously you have sleep, you have the ability to do a pretty good amount of damage with your sniper rifle as well as heal. So there's just so much in the arsenal of the hero that it's really hard to replace it right now. There are certain sections of certain maps or certain team compositions that you run where maybe you would rather have a Mercy in that, and my team has been running Mercy sometimes in place of Ana, but for the most part you do run Ana. And then on the flip side of that, for Zen, I know this is about Ana, but just to bring this up, if you are playing a dive comp yourself and you're against triple tank and you know you're not going to be in any threat of being dove as Zen, then you can run it, just because the Discord orb is very valuable for your dive comp, and you don't need the Ana survivability because you know you won't be getting dove.
What kind of mistakes, or what's the difference between sort of you yourself as a high GM pro Ana player versus like a master GM player? Like, what common mistakes do you see that stop these players from climbing, I suppose?
I mean, I think the obvious answer would be mechanics, but I think the less obvious but almost more impactful answer is communication. It sounds cliche, like I mean, everyone always talks about communication, teamwork, whatever, and I feel like it's still not getting through to a lot of people how important it is, even though it's frequently talked about by pros and any high level player. I just feel like there's so much in Ana's kit that impacts the game, but it has to be followed up on. So communication is really important. You can have amazing mechanics on Ana, and if you don't have the communication to either preemptively communicate what you're about to do, or communicate something as you're doing it, or after you've done it, like all three things are very important. If you don't do that, then your mechanics are going to waste. So, whether it's predicting a certain ult coming up, like that they're gonna nano boost the Winston. It's just really, they only have nano boost, and that the only target they have is Winston. You could do a great job of predicting that, and then a great job of setting up to sleep him. But if you never mention that ever, then it's just going to go to waste. Someone's going to be shooting him at the same time. Someone's going to wake him up. And that's just one example of many. So I just think communication is probably one of the most important ones. But obviously, like, mechanics are really important. At the end of the day, mechanics will be the most important. It's just, it can definitely go to waste if you don't have that communication.
You brought up sleeps before, and there've been a couple of montages of you landed some absolute monster sleeps on targets like Tracers and Winstons across maps and stuff like that. Are there any tips on using the sleep? Because it's a really clunky, hard to use ability a lot of the time, and it can be really wasteful as well. So I just wondered if you had any tips on how to effectively use a sleep dart.
Well, the first thing is just the mechanic itself. So just, the projectile and just landing the sleep. I would say just honestly practice just make a custom game, add some bots and just play against them with no cooldowns, and just practice, getting used to the windup, getting used to the projectile speed and different distances. Go for every sleep you can. At the end of the day, it's not going to be the greatest practice just because, the bots are going to be moving unnaturally, but it's just for practicing the feel of the sleep dart itself, not necessarily landing it, because it's going to be really easy to land it on the bots, but the feel of the windup and the feel of the projectile is really important. It's gotten to the point where, and I've talked to other top Annas about this, like Raucus from FaZe Clan, and we talked about how sometimes if we know we have to shoot a sleep dart pretty soon, we'll just shoot it first and then aim later because of the windup. Like, we're just so used to the windup, we know exactly, like, if I hear a Pharah start ulting and I don't even know where the Pharah is, I'll actually just hit shift already, knowing that there's a windup, and then look for the Pharah, and just, obviously you have to be pretty quick about it, but there's just examples of that. That's just how used to the mechanic you have to get is sometimes you just preemptively even hit it. For the most part, it's based on like ult management, like keeping track of ults. For me personally, I don't necessarily have to worry about that because my team has an in-game leader that main caller that tells me before the push what I need to worry about. So honestly, like I think I'm very, very good with the mechanic side of it, and, but I do get a lot of help from my team. Like, ult management isn't the hardest thing in the world to keep track of. I mean, I have to do it myself anyway when I'm in matchmaking, but just wanted to put it in perspective in the team side of things, that it might even be easier for me against pro teams than it is in matchmaking, just because I don't even have to think about ult management, and I'm just worried about my mechanics because my in-game leader tells me when certain ults are coming up. I'm pretty liberal with my sleeps. I go for them just for pick potential, like a Roadhog would use their hook. Like, I'm just looking for picks all the time until I know certain ults are coming up that I should be saving them for.
I imagine it's somewhat similar with the grenade as well, with the wind-up, especially if you're using it much more aggressively. And this is more something that I've been interested myself, as certainly watching a lot of the pros play. There's a lot of this innovative commerce like shotgun, where the Reinhardt will charge and then the Ana will throw a grenade to heal up the Reinhardt and also what he's hit to anti-heal it. Do you think that's something that people should be much more aggressive with their nades, or is that just too risky in like competitive and stuff like that?
I wouldn't say it's too risky. You would just have to know the right times to use it. I can go into it really in depth, and it could go for hours, so I won't bore anyone with that, but just the general way to look at it is, it depends on your comp, and it depends on the other team's comp. So if the other team has a dive comp, you're gonna be very, very passive with your nade. You're gonna be using it to heal yourself and heal your team. Like, you're not gonna go for the aggressive nades, because the moment you go for those aggressive nades, they're just gonna, if it's an organized team or it's high level players and competitive even, they're gonna recognize that you don't have nade and they're just gonna go for you. With that said, there are a lot of people that I feel like don't recognize when they can be really aggressive, or they just think that you're kind of like a heal bot as Ana, and I think that's just it's not the case if you were just a healer, you maybe you just play Mercy or something. But as Ana, you're a really aggressive, like almost DPS hero, and you need to be able to look for these opportunities and things like that to be aggressive, especially with the nade, because a good anti-heal just wins you the entire team fight. And at the end of the day, in matchmaking and competitive, no matter what hero you are, the way you climb the ranks is just you have to be making the biggest impact on every game you can, and your biotic grenade is probably the most impactful thing you have in the kit.
I think we sort of touched on it before when it came to mistakes of lack of communication and stuff, but like there is a lot of emphasis and a lot of pressure playing Ana. It's the same sort of thing with playing Mercy, right? When you have the res, you become a high priority target for the enemy team. What kind of common mistakes do you see when it comes to survivability? Like, is it positioning that a lot of people are bad at? Is it, like, what sort of stands out to you when you're playing somebody in matchmaking or you're watching VODs and stuff that is like, okay, this is the kind of thing that I want to get out there for all Ana players, like, don't do stuff like this?
A lot of it would be definitely positioning, and again, that is really, really situational. Sometimes, you, as an Ana, you want to just take a high ground position and fall really, and just be free farming from the high ground position, like either free farming heals or damage or whatever. There's times where you are actually inside of your tanks, like in your Reinhardt, you're pushed up. Because if you take any sort of position in the back line, you're actually going to be easier to kill.
So that'd be against dive comps and stuff like that.
Yeah, again, and it does. It's not like a hard and fast rule. There are times versus dive comp that you would be somewhere far back because, for whatever reason, the architecture of the map or section of the map is really good for you, where you get such a good line of sight and you're just way too far away for the dive. But for the most part, especially on King of the Hill maps, if you're running a triple tank comp and your enemy team is running a dive comp, you want to be on your tank so that, for example, they dive you nade yourself and your Reinhardt, while simultaneously nading the divers, while simultaneously your Reinhardt is just swinging away at the divers. And the Zarya can obviously, right next to you, just bubble you or bubble whoever is being dove. So positioning is one of them. Another big deal, or another important thing to think about, when it comes to Ana survivability, is honestly, you don't just really manage your own cooldowns as Ana or as a support in general. And this goes for really anyone, not just supports, but you kind of think about your teammates' cooldowns. It's a team game. If you are an Ana and you have a soldier, maybe you think about every time you get dove or every time you get pushed by anything, you need to make sure you're on top of your soldier so that he healing stations for you. Or if it's a McCree, he can stun the target and you both either burst through the stun or he stuns to set you up for an easy sleep. When you think of someone's teamwork, you think more like what you can do to help your teammates, but sometimes people forget like what they can do to help you and what you can tell them to do to help you.
So, like, as you sort of said before when we went over the nade, like, you could go on for hours about this sort of thing, that there's obviously the higher you get with a lot of these heroes, the more in depth that you get. So just as sort of a roundup, what kind of things and what kind of tips would you give to people that are, say, getting really good at Ana, starting to get used to playing her, but really want to take it to the next level? What kind of tips across all of a kit would you give in that sense?
So for before I go down the list of every cooldown, everything in the kit, I just want to reiterate the communication. So everything you use in your kit needs to be supplemented by communication, otherwise it's just gonna go to waste. But to go down the list, I would say for sleeps, I would look for sleeps like a Roadhog would look for hooks. If you're trying to make the biggest impact You need to be a little bit more liberal with them. It feels weird at first, but honestly, a lot of times you're holding on to sleep when you could have shot 3 sleeps in the time you shot 1, and it wouldn't have been you wouldn't have lost anything from it. You could only potentially gain picks from it. And obviously hold on to it if you know a big ult is coming or something that you need to sleep. But for nade, just try really hard to learn how the different comps in Overwatch work. Something that can get you to the next level is your nade usage, and a big part of that is comp knowledge, like knowing when you can be aggressive with it or be defensive with it depending on your comp. So I mean, it's probably one of the most important skills in the game right now. I'm actually super surprised it's not nerfed. So try to learn how to use your nades properly as Ana, and when you can use them offensively. The nano boost, we did just go over that, but for the most part, just be more creative with them. There's definitely ways to be creative, like nano boosting someone so that they can build their ult, and that could be the difference maker. That could be, you know, how you impact the game to help the team win. And obviously at the end of the day, in matchmaking, you know, like no matter what hero you are, you're just trying to make the biggest impact you can across all the games that you play, and that's how you get a higher rank.
And usually at the end of master guides, we kind of ask like the sort of golden tip, like, you know, you've been in the scene pretty much since it started. What tip would you give to people, not even just on Ana, across all the heroes? I'm guessing it's probably going to be communication at this point, but like, what tip would you give to somebody to get better at Overwatch?
Well, other than the obvious, just practice, watch VODs, watch, you know, videos, watch streams. A big part of it is, you know, it's a team game. And no, I'm not about to say communication because I've already, you know, stated that a lot. But it's a team game, so if you think about it, you know, networking is a really big deal. Honestly, like if you, and not just because you need to know the right people to be successful, but because if it's a team game, people need to want you as a teammate. You need to be a likable person. And honestly, like I hate to, you know, be really negative, but you don't come across a lot of those people in matchmaking. So as you get higher in the ranks, you end up seeing a lot of like really, like a lot of people you would think are, yeah, they're good, but you would never want to play on a team with them. So you'll definitely stand out if you're a positive person. Like, this sounds really, really corny, but like honestly, it's a big deal. Like if you're a positive person and you're like fun to play with, and people enjoy being around you, they're gonna want to play on a team with you. And as long as you work on your mechanics and your game knowledge and get really good, people are going to want to play with you if you're you know, someone great to be around.
Not toxic, basically.
Exactly, not like me.
Sort of to finish on then, where can people find more sort of guides from you? Because you cover a lot of Ana stuff, you have a lot of montages and stuff like that. Where can people find more, both on YouTube and I guess on Twitch as well?
So YouTube would be the more educational stuff. I do have some montages on there, but there are educational stuff there as well, so it'd be youtube.com/dummyolson, spelled OLSON, and same for Dummy Olsen for Twitch as well. Although on Twitch, when I stream, it's not as educational. There's not really a lot of commentary. It's just, you know, pure entertainment, or playing with other pros, or just having fun. So
friend stream, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much just playing with friends. So yeah, if you're looking to learn, you can definitely learn by watching, you know, me play. But for more in-depth stuff, definitely check out my YouTube.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. Again, do like this video if you want us to talk to more pros about more intermediate subjects. And again, do check out Dummy. All of his information is in the description below. Probably one of the best, strongest Anas out there currently. So if you do play a lot of Ana, then do give him a follow and let us know what you think. But until next time, take care. We'll see you then.